Westplex 1071. You are listening to Westplex 1071. Hello? Well, I'm just going to continue to talk. You are listening to Westplex 1071. This is the BS.Show. I am Brad. He is Shelley.
They just want to
And
get in
together
the
we
roundabout
make-
and get off. They just want to get in the roundabout and get off. They just want to get in the roundabout and get off.
Yeah, those people in those roundabouts are mean. Hi, Brad. I know you're there because you're playing with the buttons. Yeah. Thank you, Flipper.
Mr. Trouble never hangs around when he hears this mighty sound. Here I come to save the day. That means that Mighty Mouse is on the way.
I'm here.
I know you're here. How are you?
I'm Mighty Mouse.
You're what?
See how things have changed with kids programming? You know,
I have come here to save the day.
things used to be wholesome. Mighty Mouse, he's come here to...
Oh, Mighty Mouse. Is that what that's from? For some reason, I thought it was from something else.
No, here, listen to it again. You ready?
Mr. Trouble never hangs around when he hears this mighty sound. Here I come to save the day. That means that Mighty Mouse is on the way.
Mr. Trouble never hangs around. Don't you think we could use Mighty Mouse in the city of St. Louis right now?
Oh, we could use them in so many areas of St. Louis.
Mr. and Ms. Trouble and him and her and all those other crazy weird pronouns, all those troublemakers, they wouldn't hang around with Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse would come to town and things would get better. I'm telling you. And you know what?
Do you believe that some people just don't want to get better?
Well, yeah, but you know who Mighty Mouse's who Mighty Mouse's new co-crime fighter is?
No.
Flipper.
Flipper.
Mighty Mouse and Flipper.
Uh-huh.
Shelley.
Brad.
I got a lot to talk about this morning. You know, this is our morning therapy session.
Yes, I know. So talk away.
I've got some issues to deal with. Some of them, like, I have to be honest with you. I am really getting to the point where our government is just flat out lying to us on a lot of stuff. They know.
Just realize that?
Yeah, they know what's going on, but they're going just like who was it? We kidded about the fact that the lady who was the official spokesperson yesterday from the government said that some of the stuff that they're now seeing up in the sky is sky trash. Right, sky trash. Okay, that's right. You throw that McDonald's hamburger out the window, man, it goes up 40,000 feet. And an F-16 shoots it down. You know, I mean, it's just one of those things. Sky trash. You driving down a highway and you throw that can, soda can out the window.
That would be such a good thing.
The soda can flies up to 40,000 feet and an F-22 shoots it out of the sky. Yeah, man, I'll tell you what. You know, your soda can, which you'll get 2 cents for when you recycle it, and they use a $400,000 Sidewinder missile to knock it out of the sky. Ah, man.
Did you see the pictures of the balloon after it was picked up off the ground?
Well, they pulled it out of the ocean.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was huge.
Yeah, no kidding.
It wasn't, you'd think,
okay.
It gave the impression that it was like a small thing.
Oh, no.
It was not a small thing.
This is no small balloon. This is bigger than most of the balloons at the Great Air, the Great Forest Park Great Air Race or Great Balloon Race, whatever they call it. This is a huge, monstrous balloon.
It was huge.
Right.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
And once again, my thing of asymmetrical warfare. Okay, here we're worried about, can we have the new hyper missile and which you can't see. The deal about what the hyper missiles are. The hyper missiles travel at what a cruise missile is? A cruise missile is supposedly
cruises?
Well, it's undetectable by radar because it flies what they call nap of the earth. So in other words, it flies, it's programmed so that if it's coming to the United States, let's say the Ruskies shoot us with a cruise missile and it's headed for us here in St. Louis, the thing will automatically go over the Rockies. And then as soon as it goes over the Rockies, it'll go down to 100 feet off the ground. And if there's Kansas, there is none. But if there's like a mountain or something in Kansas, it'll go up over the top of the mountain. And when it comes to Missouri, if it goes through Kansas City, it'll go up over the top of the buildings. It's automatically programmed to essentially, just hug the nap of the earth, just stay like
It's like a Roomba.
like right off the ground. And it's but the hyper missile goes so fast you can't see it on radar. And supposedly the Ruskies and the Chinese already have the hyper missiles, and we don't. So
Why is that exactly?
we're too busy worrying about pronouns. You know what I'm saying? We're too busy.
Yeah, that is true.
We're too busy, declaring
He, him.
40,000 genders, and too busy. Yeah, he, him. We're too busy, promoting transgender generals in the army. Rather than having, I don't, if that transgender general, here's who I want as a general in the army.
If he kicks butt, I don't care what he wears.
That's my point. I want some guy who is like, hey, we're going to go in and we're going to kick their butts. We're going to shoot them 20 times. Then we're going to shoot them again 20 times. Then we're going to shoot them again 20 times. And then we're going to blow them up.
Just in case we missed.
Right. Those are the generals we need, not these. We have to worry about what
balloon's feelings.
What gender you are. Okay, come on. Knock it off. Okay.
You say that to me a lot.
No, you know what? See,
What?
I'm an old guy. Okay, can I say these kind of things? Okay,
Ugh,
I'm
I
real.
hate when you say that because you are a very young
I'm real.
age.
I'm real
that
happy.
you are.
I'm real happy living in the United States. There's no other place in the world I'd rather live. I'm not one of these guys who go, well, when I retire, I'm going to, like for example, there's a guy who used to live next to our transmitter site, the old KSOQ transmitter site, okay? And he retired and he moved to Belize, okay? Not interested. Don't want to do that. First off, A, he should have never retired. And B, I'd be afraid that, that some drug cartel is going to show up in the middle of the night and slit my throat because they want my truck that's in the driveway. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Do you know that there are places that pay you to move there?
Well, yes. But do you know the United States is one of them. Do you know this story?
No, I just knew about
you-
Belize. That's what brought it to mind was Belize.
If you bring enough money to the country, you can get preferential treatment for immigration. Now, of course, that's out the window now because all you got to do is just fly into Mexico, walk across the border, and you're in the United States. And everything. Oh, okay. Here's your Obama phone. You need a bus, go somewhere. Okay, limousine. We'll call a limousine for you. I'm telling you, if you think I'm nuts, which I am. If I didn't have these radio stations to run, I literally would go down to I would leave the country. I would. I'd get a boat or something like that. I'd go down to Houston and I'd pay some guy, hey, you got a boat? Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take me down to Mexico, which isn't that far down from Houston. You know what I mean? You jump down you go through the Gulf of Mexico and you go, I don't know, I have to look at my map. I think it's to the point where if you're in Houston, you're probably only about 100 miles away from the Mexican border. I have to look at that. Anyway, I'd say drop me off the Mexican border. And then I'd have like a handful of cash, and I'd say, okay, hey, you, take me to McAllen, Texas, or whatever they're having all this problem, and just walk across the border. And you walk across the border, and you surrender to the border agents, and I do what that gal did to me, the gal who's working the sign, where I said to her, I tried to talk to her, and she says, no English, and I said, hey, there's $100 bill taped to my license plate, and you can have it, and she's off the curb like in a quarter of a second. She's going back to grab the $100 bill off of my license plate, but of course she doesn't speak English.
But she understands it.
Right. There you go. She understands it. She just can't speak it.
Speaking it and understanding it are two different things.
She understands it when it comes to money. That's what she has, that little quirk in her brain that if you say to her, hey, who's Abraham Lincoln? She'd go, I don't know. But if you'd say, hey, there's $100 bill taped on the sole of my shoe, she'd say, which one? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'd go down to Mexico. I'd come across the border. Think about it. You wouldn't, and you'd come, and you just get a different identity. You become somebody else. I would. Who I'd become? I'd come up with a real good name. I'd come up with a real good name.
What's that?
Brian Richardson. I'd be Brian Richardson.
Okay, moving on. What time is it? 6:27.
And I would join chambers and I would harass people in the chambers. That's what I'd do. Okay.
Okay, 6:27.
What time is it?
6:27.
Is 6:27? You sure it's 6:27?
Uh-huh.
We can wait a while. It'll be 6:28.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, it is 6:27. I say things on this show that people don't believe.
Except for me. Evidently.
You believe everything I say. Okay, yesterday, I let out this piece of trivia that I've never talked about before, ever.
Okay.
And I put it on my Facebook page, and I get people saying that I'm not being truthful, that I'm being dishonest about this, that I'm actually joshing about this, okay?
Joshing?
Let me
Is
do
it about
something
Joshing Holly?
here. Josh Hawley, Mr. I'm sorry.
Mr. Pirate Shoes?
Every time Shelley and I, we go to this event where Josh Hawley's at when he's running for Senate, okay? and first off, it was sort of a weird event. It wasn't a big of an event. It was someplace right there on West. No, I always get confused.
It was on the outer road.
Well, West Clay is the North Outer Road, and for most of St. Charles County, or not most of it, but then turns into Terra Lane. But on the south side, it's Veterans Memorial Drive or Parkway, whatever they call it, from essentially 5th Street all the way out to, I think it goes all the way out into Warrenton, believe it or not. I think the South Service Road out there is called Veterans Memorial Parkway as well, too. Okay.
I know it goes all the way to Forestel.
Yeah, it does. Okay, you're exactly right, and I think they extended it actually into Warren County as well too. So
I don't know. I just know that's where our office was for about a year before COVID.
We go to this event. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. No, you were on the wrong side. That's the south side. We were on the north side.
Yes.
But it wasn't a Veterans Parkway on the side we were on. Because it's on the south side. We were on the north side of 70.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't. We weren't off of it then. It was on the other side of the highway. Never mind. Okay. Okay. So.
Okay.
I come out with this yesterday on Facebook, and nobody believes me.
Okay, what is it?
One of my relatives.
Oh, I saw that.
One of my relatives, and right now I'm going to play the song that one of my relatives wrote, produced, and sang in. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay, hold on if I can get this to work.
Hey, hey, Paula, I will marry you. Hey, hey, Paula, no one else could ever do. I've waited so long for school.
Okay, that's enough. An oldie goldie. It's called Hey Paula, and it's a duet, and then he sings, and then she's Paula. And he's Paul. Okay, so then she comes back and she sings.
Paula, I can't wait no more for you, my love.
Okay, now then she comes and she sings. Hey, Paul.
I've been waiting.
Okay, Paul is my older brother.
That is a crock.
Paul is my older brother. I've never told this story before. Is my older brother.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. You don't believe me?
No, I don't.
Okay, guess what his name is? Can you guess what his name is?
Paul?
His real name is Ray Hildebrand.
Okay.
And the lady, they're not Paul and Paula. They're Ray Hildebrand and Jill Jackson.
Okay.
Ray Hildebrand wrote the song, originally titled Paul and Paula, taking inspiration from Annette Funicello.
Aww.
And see, I've looked him up because he's actually my older brother.
From a different mother?
No. My parents were old when they had us. Hold on.
You know, it's funny that you say that because my mom was 34 when she had me.
Oh.
And back in the 60s, that was...
Yeah, that was you. She was 4 years too late for that. You didn't have kids in the 30s. You had them in the 20s, right? Or the teens back.
Yes.
Back in the teens. Hold on.
Yes.
Okay, here. Let me pull this up. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to show you that this is my brother. Okay. Ray Hildebrand. RayHilde. Here he is in here. They don't have him in here as Ray Hildebrand. They're just Paul and Paula. Paul and Paula. Here we go. Ray Hildebrand, born December 21st, 1940.
Okay.
Million-selling #1 hit, Hey Paula, biography. This is when my parents lived in Texas. Hildebrand was born in Joshua, Texas.
They did not live in Texas.
My mom and dad lived in Texas for a while. Remember, my dad was in
When?
my dad was in the military. My dad lived all over the world. I mean, he lived all over the world. I mean, literally.
He
I mean,
grew up in Hazelwood.
yeah, but that's when he moved here. This is before. See, my dad didn't go to college right away. My dad joined the Army, and he traveled the world. I mean, literally traveled the world. My mom, I can't find it. It drives me nuts that I can't find it. Years ago, like maybe 25 years ago, my mom sat down and interviewed my dad and said, okay, give me your military history. And it was 3 pages long. She typed it out. I mean, my dad went all over the world. I mean, he was in England. He was in Europe. He was in Iceland and Greenland. Okay. Remember?
Cool.
You know, and first started out we went through basic training. Then he was an MMP, a military mounted police. Then they switched him into an anti-aircraft unit. He was in a half track, and he was the gunner in an anti-aircraft unit. And then they retrained him. He became a demolitions guy. I'm telling you, he was in Europe. And I've told this story before, that if you remember, it's one of the final scenes in the movie Saving Private Ryan, where, you know, the Americans and Private Ryan's little squad are getting pushed back, and the Germans are coming after them, that small little town, and they're retreating, and they're moving back, and the poignant scene where there's a tank coming after Tom Hanks, and the tank's about ready to cross over a bridge, and Tom Hanks tries to blow up the bridge. That's what my dad did. My dad,
a demolitions expert.
Yes, he talked about this all the time. He was like right behind the front lines of the troop because that's exactly what they were doing. They were putting, as they were, going forward after D-Day, and they were moving through Europe and heading to the east toward Germany. Every time they got a little bit of ground and they got I don't care if it was a railroad bridge or a bridge over a creek or a bridge over a major river, something like that. My dad
bridge over troubled water.
Well, no, my dad was there on the bridge putting charges on it. Him and his crew were putting charges on it. So if the Americans had to retreat, they just blew up the bridges behind them. That way the Germans couldn't go after them. And that's what my dad did. And so then he got out of the Army. And he went right in the reserves and served in the reserves for 36 years, retired as a captain. And then he went to college later in life. But he was originally, him and my mom had my brother Ray down in Joshua, Texas.
Okay, I'm not going to believe you because you sound so serious.
And there's a tie-in with me being in the radio business, and this is why my mom didn't like the radio business. When they were down then they moved to Brownwood, Texas, and a local DJ there by the name of Riney Jordan, he was on station KEAN, asked listeners to come into the studio and sing their songs to help the American Cancer Society. The duo came and they sang Hey Paula, which Ray Hildebrand wrote. The lyrics were inspired by a friend of his, Russell Berry, whose fiancée was named Paula. Jordan decided that Hildebrand and Jackson should record the song, and they did, right there at the radio station. That's why my mom hates radio stations. She hates radio because my older brother got into, singing by showing up at a local radio station, KEAN, in Brownwood, Texas. You didn't know this about me, did you? I've never told this story before.
No, that's why I think you're a big fat liar.
Look it up, Ray Hildebrand. I mean, all you have to do, here,
I'm not saying he doesn't exist. I'm just saying he's not
Oh,
related to you.
well, unfortunately,
Well, he probably is down
he's
a
passed away.
long, long trail of Hildebrands.
I believe he's passed away. And once again, I didn't get invited.
Great older brother, Brad.
Well, he didn't invite me to the funeral. You know what I mean? It's terrible when your family passes away and you don't even know about it. Oh, no, he's still alive. I need to call him.
Oh my goodness!
He's
Reunion.
82. Wow. Go get this. He did Paula, Hey Paula in 1961, and then he did a song in 2020, just 2 years ago, The Holly and the Ivy. And Paul and Paula, Hey Paula. He did it in 2020. And then he did another one. He did another one in 1961 called Young Lovers. Yes, he still lives in Joshua, Texas. Oh, my God.
I double dog dare you to call him.
My brother's still alive. And
Did you hear me?
What'd you say again now?
I double dog dare you.
Here's a question. Are Paul and Paula a real couple? The names Paul and Paula were just pseudonyms. Paul, who was just the songwriter, is Ray Hildebrand. He was a student at Texas Howard Payne University during that time. See, I'm telling you. On the other hand, Paula is Jill Jackson, the niece of the owner of the boarding house where Ray lived. See, he got mad at my mom and dad, and he moved into a boarding house.
Okay,
You think I'm kidding about this?
I do.
You think that I am... Now, keep in mind,
Full of feces? Yes.
they're from Joshua, Texas. I ain't Joshin.
Whatever. Anyway, go on with the rest of your angsty stuff.
Okay. What happened to the singing group Paul and Paula? This is my brother. Jackson went on with a solo career and then married a Los Angeles businessman named Marvin Landon. Since their days as a singing duo, Jill and Ray have remained friends and well into the early 2000s. They occasionally will get together and sing as Paul and Paula for special events such as oldies shows. God, he's probably got money. Man, he's got money. Who's Ray Hildebrand married to? Judi Hendrix. I remember Judy too. You know,
You had me there.
No.
You're done.
No, she lived in St. Louis for a while. Do you remember in North County they used to have the salad dressing was made by the Hendrix family? Hendrix salad dressing. You remember that?
No.
That was Julie. That was that was Judy. That was her family.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Can we move on?
You don't believe me.
No, I don't.
Here's look at this. Oh my God, he's got a website. This is my brother, RayHildebrand.com. Hold a minute. Here is right here. I found his website. This is my brother. I'm going to send him a note. Hey, Ray, it's your brother, Brad. Remember me? Let's get together.
Yeah, do
Here.
that.
Oh, my God. It's got 3 decades, 1 heart. From the love song that started it all to solo success, an amazing collaboration. A sweet and simple love song launched Ray and his friend Jill on a meteoric ride from Brownwood, Texas to countries all around the world. Paul and Paula were the sweethearts of the 60s, and their musical success garnered gold and platinum records as they shared a spotlight with many musical legends from Dick Clark to the Beatles. He knows the Beatles.
Uh-huh.
Hey. And you know what?
What?
He did a special version for me years ago. I've
What's
never
that?
told. Hey, Brad. What are you doing in the radio business? You know your mom hates radio. She's really mad at you. That's why she loves me more than you. Because you're a radio guru. Hey, Brad. Don't believe anything that Shelley bar says on the morning show. Hey, Brad. Why don't you go out and sell some more ads on the radio?
Was that meant for me?
No, it's meant for me. God.
The words bite me come to mind.
And do you know after, and you're not going to believe this either. I mean, this is all these pieces of the puzzle come together. All these pieces of the puzzle come together. And do you know that when the musical career didn't do well for my brother Ray, do you know he actually went into the movie business for a while?
Uh-huh.
And he was an actor, but that didn't work out well for him. So what he did was, since he was an animal lover, he started training animals. And he trained a very famous animal that would become a star of a huge TV show. You know who
Lassie?
that? No.
Did he really train Flipper?
Oh, yeah. My brother trained Flipper.
Oh, never mind. Moving on. Oh, look, 647.
My brother Ray. You don't believe me?
No.
God. Did I tell you about my younger sister?
Holly?
No. She's older than me. I'm the young one in the family. It is BS.Show. 6:53, a Thursday morning. So happy it's Thursday, yes. Mike Otten just texted me and said that now that I've revealed my older brother, Ray Hildebrand, that I should talk about my great-grandfather, Sam Hildebrand.
His name would not be Sam.
Yeah, Sam Hildebrand. Matter of fact, there's a book about Sam
Was
Hildebrand.
this your daddy's dad?
No, this is my great-grandfather. This is my father's father's father.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Notorious citizen of Missouri.
Notorious B.I.G.?
Yeah, supposedly killed 77 people.
Oh, please.
Serious story. Serious
What
story.
is that? Who is he? The son of Sam?
No. It's interesting. It's a weird story. Here, let me read this. The so-called Big River bushwhacker was a mighty bad man and an angry one, too. Confederate sympathizers called Sam Hildebrand a Rob Roy, a freedom fighter. Union supporters vilified him as a ruthless murderer. Sam went from being a farmer and father of 6 children to one of the most notorious Confederate bushwhackers. When Missouri vigilantes, with the help of the Union Home Guard, lynched his brother Frank, that was my uncle. That's my great uncle. They lynched his brother Frank, my great-great-uncle, in 1861. Sam got revenge against his brother's killers. In retaliation, federal troops burned the family home and shot and killed several of his relatives, including his 13-year-old brother. Okay, so what did do? Sam declared war on the North. He joined the Confederate Army, but gained notoriety as a rebel guerrilla fighter. He reportedly had 80 notches carved in the stock of his rifle, which he nicknamed Kill Devil. In his book, Sam Hildebrand Rides Again, Henry C. Thompson states that a partial list of Sam's victims include 26 civilians and an undetermined number of federal soldiers. Many of his victims were hanged. His reign of terror in southeast Missouri lasted until he died while resisting arrest in 1872. 2 years earlier, the illiterate, see, I keep telling people not to go to school. He dictated his experiences to 2 journalists, and his life story was published as Autobiography of Samuel S. Hildebrand. Civil War historian Kirby Ross edited a 2005 edition. Sam's own words aptly sum up his violent life. Quote, I make no apology to mankind for my acts of retaliation. I make no whining appeal to the world for sympathy. I sought revenge and I found it. The key of all hell was not suffered to rust in the lock while I was on the warpath. That's my great-grandfather. Look it up. Just Google Sam Hildebrand. That'll come up. This is an article off a website called True West Magazine.
Uh-huh.
And it was written by...
Did you ever do Me in 23?
It was written by Orville Turner of Richwoods, Missouri. You know where Richwoods is? That's not too far from here.
Oh.
Yeah. You know why they call it Richwoods?
Because it's woods that are rich?
No, but there's broke. That's what... That's what they called Richwoods. They live in the sticks, but they're all broke. No, 23andMe? No, I would never do that.
Well, you probably should because, you really need to get into the CIA's database. But
No.
aside from
That's what happens. You get into the database.
Of course it is. That's the real census right there.
Right. How do you think they caught the guy from Idaho, the alleged murderer of the 4 college kids? That's he wasn't in the database, but his dad was. That's how they caught him. The whole thing is God.
What did his daddy have to do with it?
No, they can figure out, even if you're like, are you in? Did you ever do the genealogy thing, the DNA? Have you ever done that? You done 23andMe?
No, I actually bought it, but I never did it.
Okay, has your husband or anybody in your family done it? Probably so.
No.
Okay, but there's probably somebody that's related to you that's done it. Okay, there's certain DNA that shows family lineage. In other words, if it's your DNA, it'll come back as a direct match. But if it's not your DNA, there's other people that share your DNA because they are blood relatives of you. Like, for example, like let's say your grandmother. How many did you have? You were an only child, but did your grandmother? If you go back, were there other kids? Did your dad have brothers or sisters? I mean, did your husband have brothers and sisters?
Half brothers.
Okay. How about anybody else in your family? Like, did you have, if you trace back your grandfather, did they have kids? Your grandfather and grandmother, did they have kids?
Well, my grandmother had my mom and her brother.
See, there you go. So in other words, your brother, if your brother did 23andMe.
I don't have a brother. I had a half brother.
Well, you said he was
her brother.
That was your uncle.
My mom's brother.
Yeah, it was your uncle, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if he did 23andMe, then your family tree is in the database. So in other words, if you committed a crime.
Yeah, I know. But no, he didn't. He wanted me to do it. I just never did.
Who wanted you to do it?
My uncle.
Your uncle. Because, you know why? Because find out that he was related to me back in the 1800s. He was
We're all kind of related together, Brad.
Hey, if you believe the Bible, we all are related, right? We're all come from Adam and Eve, right? Wasn't that the deal? Aren't they the original the original couple? Isn't that?
Yes.
I mean, isn't that how it worked? It was them, and then they created a lot of kids, and then their kids had kids.
Their own little pack.
Right. So, you think I'm kidding about this kind of stuff?
I do.
Okay, next hour, which is coming up in seconds, I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to apologize to a woman who I have no idea who I is, but she did me wrong, and I yelled at her, but I was wrong for yelling at her because I'm not that kind of a guy. But yesterday, I was, because I had special circumstances that I was ticked off about, okay?
Ooh, you're so ticked off.
I was. It's 6:59. I screwed up. No, that's not what I should have done. Okay, where am I? What a mess. Okay. Are you there? Are you there, Shelley?
I am.
That's mistake. We're in the second hour. That's mistake 46 already this morning. Okay.
You're above yourself. You're surpassing your day's best.
I'm doing real well. Okay. First off, okay. Yesterday, there's this horrendous train derailment in, I think it's called Palestine, Ohio. Okay.
I heard about that.
Yes, and what happened was that there's all sorts of crazy stuff. I mean, first off, train derailments are never good. This one's a very bad one. Had a lot of chemical cars, and they made a decision that they were afraid that one of the chemical cars was going to explode. So they purposely set it on fire and blew it up so that it would not explode. Okay, there was like a controlled detonation, so to speak. Okay.
Yeah.
So yesterday, Pete Buttigieg, the Department of Transportation head, whatever he is, the head of Department of Transportation, comes out and said, who's to blame for that that
Donald Trump.
Yes. He comes out and says,
did he say that?
Yes, he comes out.
I was kidding.
No,
but
here's this.
Okay.
Here's the story right here. It's like, okay, come on. It's like the big story. It's like, where's it's like a headline story. He claims Donald Trump is to blame. Okay, do you know why Donald Trump's to blame?
Why?
Pete Buttigieg went on to tell this, that shortly before the train derailment, Donald Trump was in Palestine, Ohio. He was there. And
was he?
Yes. And I don't know if you know this or not.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was. He was in Palestine, Ohio. So
that's a for real thing.
They've got video of him in Palestine, Ohio. And Donald Trump has made no bones about it that he does not like a lot of the new quarters they came out with, the state's quarters. So, and especially since he no longer lives in New York and he's not happy with New York anymore, he got a big collection of New York quarters and he put them on the rail to squash them because he wanted to show the New York people how mad he was at New York. So he put like $1 worth of, like 2 New York quarters, the state's quarters on each of the rails, and the train hit the quarters and derailed.
Because that's what that man has the time to do.
It was. Well, when you have vengeance, you'll do all sorts of crazy stuff. Vengeance is a strange motivator. Okay, so
Please.
But
I'm not even believing you.
what? He did. He put the quarters on the rails.
Of
Yes,
course, Brad.
he did.
Moving on.
Okay.
You had to apologize to someone?
Oh yeah. Okay. So now here's story number 2. Indiana Jones 5 is coming out. And you know what they're saying?
What?
Indiana Jones is not going to be a good guy in this movie.
Why did they do that? There are
Because
people that look, I mean, there are children that have grown up with the Indiana Jones do good, be good,
he's a bad guy in the movie. Okay, here.
I hate when they do that.
Here
All
we-
that does is like ruin these kids' dreams.
Here's the director of the movie. Here's how he explains this. The
Uh-huh.
mistake you can make in movies, and we've all seen movies like this, is where someone is of ripe age, but the entire movie is continuing this decade charade along with them that they're not all that old. So in other words, he's saying he's going to show how old he is. He's going to limp around. He's going to look like me, because I'm older than him. I'm 87. He's 80. That's Harrison Ford. And he's going to talk about the fact that he's entering a gray area of his life. Remember, we had Sean Hayes on here talking about black and white and gray. And matter of fact, his book is called something. What's it? Into the Gray or something like that, or the Gray Mistake or something like that. The idea being is there's black and there's white. White's good.
256 Shades of Grey.
Black is bad, and if you stay in the white, but if you venture into the gray, you may end up in the black. Or matter of fact, I wish I ended up in the black because I'd rather have some money. But that's red and black. That's a whole nother story. Okay, so they're going to the fifth Indiana Jones movie is going to trash the poor guy, and they're going to show all sorts of bad things about him. Do you want to go see that movie? Not me.
Nope.
I don't want to go see that movie.
You want to go see that movie?
No. I see. I don't understand. There was a time when you went to the movies to be entertained. Okay?
Exactly.
Like, I'll tell you the story. I went into a theater to watch the movie American Sniper, okay, with, it shows the real history of one of the world's, one of the top snipers ever in, fighting over there in the foreign countries, okay? I walked out in that movie because it was depressing as hell.
That's because it wasn't a chick flick.
Well, no, it just
You can't.
I mean, and if you know how
You not put a spin
if you know how he dies,
on a sniper movie.
well, but
that includes romance.
the sad part of it is you already know the ending of the story because of the fact that you know what happened to him. He got killed by a guy, a wigged out veteran they were trying to help. They were at a shooting range and they were trying to help this guy. He was a PTSD survivor. He was in the military as well too. And he got a gun and shot him and the other guy. So you already and I'm watching a movie. I'm going like, okay, this is sad, and especially because a lot of the stuff was in Afghanistan. And guess what? We just left Afghanistan, and they blew up 13 of our service members. One of them a local guy right here in the St. Charles County area. Depressing. So I left that movie. I thought to myself, this is not my cup of tea. Don't like this movie. Left. I want to go to the movie to be entertained.
Which is why you like chick flicks.
See, I don't like chick, but you say I like chick flicks.
Totally love chick flicks. Your entire stations are based on
Not
a female demographic.
not podcaster anymore. That's all talk now.
Yeah, I know. That's all podcasts. but
Okay. So I'm here to tell I'm here to confess that I did something that I'm not proud of yesterday. Okay?
What is it? It wasn't one of your finer moments?
There's a backstory to this, okay? And you know a little bit of the story. We do business because of the fact that we have these radio stations. We have lots of, shall we say, vendors that we send money to keep us on the air, like Ameren UE and Quiver River, Quiver River has spent so much money with me. Quiver River Electric, I can barely say anything bad about them. All the years they've supported our radio stations. God, I just am so happy for their support. Anyway,
You're funny.
You're not going to say anything.
I'm like, yeah, you got that one in
Remember
there.
when we got
jib,
kicked?
jab.
Remember when we got kicked out of the Quiver River, the shareholders meeting?
I do. That was super fun.
It was. Okay. So, anyway.
That was early in my career with you.
Yes, a long time ago. So, anyway, I have a particular vendor who an attorney last week for this company sends me a nasty gram saying I owe them tons of money. So I'm going like, I don't owe them that money. I paid that. So for a week, I have been sending canceled checks to this company saying, okay, here's another payment you haven't credited me. I'm up to $8,000 I paid them that they say that they claimed I didn't, and I'm having to go to the bank and get canceled checks to send to this attorney and these accountants, and I'm now dealing with not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 accountants for this company. And I'm going like, I don't owe you this money. Here's the canceled checks. And every time I send them, and what's interesting is they'll say things like, you didn't make any payments in July of 2022. So what do? I send them a canceled check of my payments in July of 2022. Oh, okay. Well, you didn't make any payments in February of 2023. So I go and I send them a canceled check of the payments I made to them in February 2023. So I am on the phone with my accountant, and I'm headed down to Clayton to take care of some business in the Clayton, the St. Louis County Executive Building right there on Central and Clayton. You know what I'm talking about. Your old stomping ground in Clayton, right? So
right.
You know me, I back into parking places, right?
You totally do. Every single time.
I'm in the meter
and it's
lot.
the farthest place away.
Right. I'm in the meter lot. And once again, I'm in the back of the lot. I'm in the meter lot. I'm pretty much as far back as you can get this lot. I'm actually closer to Bemiston than I am in the Central. So if you know which lot I'm talking about, it's a great big metered parking lot that goes all the way from it's right next to, it's just to that would be to the east of the county jail. And the parking lot goes from Central all the way to Bemiston. Okay, it's a great big long metered parking lot that's owned by the city of Clayton. Okay.
Yes.
So I go down this row, and there's a parking space there. So I turn, I go forward, and I'm almost to the point where I'm getting close to the cars on the other side, if this makes any sense, and I'm getting ready to back up. And a lady going the other way down the aisle pulls in front of me and takes my parking space. I mean, literally, and I'm going like, and I even honked at her because when she went in front of me, I thought to myself, she's going to hit the front of my car because I was fairly close to the other cars. You know how when you pull in like aisle, you pull toward the other cars, then you back up, okay? And these parking spaces, they're not the angled parking spaces. They're straight parking spaces. So I'm in reverse, and she almost hits me in the front, and she pulls and just goes in the parking space. And I'm going like, and I'm on the phone with my accountant, and I just let loose a expletive or two, and I'm going like, I can't believe she just did that. So I get out of the car, and the other crazy thing is, the thing I noticed as she pulls in front of me, she's wearing a mask. She's in her car with a mask on. Okay, now
a mask as in like an N95, or
yes.
a mask as in like Mardi Gras.
No, she's not a criminal, and she's not a Mardi Gras person. She's a woman who's driving in her car by herself, and she's got a mask on. Now, explain that to me.
Maybe she forgot she had it on.
Well, explain what you still every once in a while you still see somebody driving down a highway with a mask on. You're like, okay, they're in their car by themselves. What are they doing? Are they protecting? Are they afraid their cruise control is going to get COVID or something like that? Or is the horn button gonna you get sick? Or is their speedometer going to not work anymore? It's like, I don't get it. So I was like ticked because I'm talking to my accountant because once again yesterday morning I got my typical email from this company saying, "Hey, you still owe us $46,000." I go, I don't owe you anything. Okay, so I get out of the car. And I walk over to her door, and she ignores me. And I said, "Ma'am, I was backing into that parking space." And she rolls down her window, and she says, "I didn't see you." She didn't see me. She almost hit me in the front, going around me to go into the parking space. And I go, how could you not see me? You had to drive around me to get into this parking space. Because, in other words, I'm going down the aisle one way. So in other words, I'm like at a 45-degree angle, pointed one direction. She's coming the other way. So it wasn't like she snuck in behind me. You know what I mean? She drove in front of me to go into the parking space. And she says she didn't see me. And I go, I usually don't get upset about these things, but I'm not in the best of mood this morning. And she says, "Well, I didn't see you. It's not my fault. I didn't see you." And I said, okay, fine. I didn't cuss her out or anything. So I want to apologize to that lady.
I need to apologize to somebody too.
Did the same lady cut you off? She get in your parking space?
No, this one was totally my fault.
Okay, what'd you do? Well, but but here's the thing. Here's the thing that, let me go back to this for a minute, and you're going to get mad at me. I'm going to invoke the Billie Jean moment here, and not Jeangene. Billie Jean is a guy
snooze.
that I follow that Shelley hates, that I think he's an interesting dude. He's a guy from San Diego, runs a company, a marketing company.
He's a weirdo.
And he has 13 rules of success. And I think rule number 0, it's funny. He has 12 rules, but he has rule number 0, rule number 1. I think it's rule number 2. Everything's your fault. So it was my fault that I pulled into that parking space, because if I just would have...
You didn't, though. That's the thing.
No. It's my fault that I backed into that parking space, because if I would have fronted in the parking space, I would have been in the parking space, and she couldn't have done that. So it was my fault that she stole my parking space. And now here, but let me tell you one more part of the story, okay? Here's where karma came back to kick me in the butt. Okay, you ready for this part of the story?
I have instant karma, so I understand.
Okay, here's where karma kicks me in the butt. I'm so upset that she pulled in the parking space and took my parking space, and then was started like, well, I didn't see you. I forgot to put money in the meter. So,
did you get a ticket?
Yes. When I come out, I get a $20 parking ticket from the city of Clayton. I'm going like, okay, it just doesn't get any better than this. Now, once upon a time, I was the king of parking tickets in Clayton, because my very first job in the radio business was at the original KSOQ, 111 South Bemiston, which is now the county jail. And some of the guys that I work with are still at that address. They tore down the building, and they just, they put them in temporary housing from the radio station, and then they put them in the jail when they built the jail there. So now I owe $20 to the city of Clayton. And the crazy thing about it is, you read the ticket and it says, if you pay within 30 minutes, it's half price. And I didn't have any cash on me. And I'm going like, I'm not going down to the city of Clayton, actually I did have cash on me. I had a $100 bill on me. I'm going like, I'm not going down to the city of Clayton and giving a $100 bill, because they're going, we don't have change. That's too big a bill. We don't have anything over at 20. That kind of crap. So, okay. So now your deal where you tick somebody off?
I had to. They didn't say I did, but I had to, because I would have been really mad at me. So I was, you're driving down Mid Rivers, and then you see that hot, fresh donut sign.
Yes.
And when it's on, you make a beeline for there so you can get your hot, fresh donuts.
And that's all hype. But anyway, keep going.
Whatever.
Yes.
Anywho.
I go right next to Freddy's, which you should go to. It's right next to the donut place. And they've always got the sign up that says hot burgers right now. And I go in there, and they're always hot and fresh. Keep going. Okay, keep going.
Okay. So I turned, I turned in, and I thought I missed and I didn't see anybody behind me, and my backup camera is not working right now. So I was looking behind me. I looked both ways, didn't see anybody. So I backed up. To get into the drive.
Yeah.
To get into this place.
Right.
I didn't know there was another driveway, or another entrance. So I do that, and then I have to go around the building to get into, in line. And evidently, when I was backing up, there was this beautiful black car, kind of sat low to the ground, so I didn't really see it. And I was backing up. Well, I stopped fast, and then I backed up to get into this line. And he or she actually got in front of me, because they actually went into the entrance that I should have been going in. And I did that to them, and I'm really sorry I did that.
So you line jumped them?
I don't know what that means.
Well, you jumped in line. You got in front of them.
No, I was there first. My point being is that I was backing up. He was behind me.
Did you hit him?
No. I didn't even see the man.
No,
or woman.
Matter of fact,
I saw it had to be a girl, because he or she had a butterfly on the back of their window. beautiful black car with a white butterfly in the center of the
So
back
you've
window.
never seen the butterfly in the back of my car?
No, Brad, I haven't.
So what would Shelley didn't realize is she's got, you like the planes have a cockpit voice recorder. Shelley has that in her car. And
No, she doesn't. But go on.
I downloaded the audio from the interaction where Shelley's backing up and she almost hits the person and she yells out,
Get in the roundabout and get off. They just want to get in the roundabout and get off.
and the person that she almost smashed into yelled, and Shelley stopped.
Oh my! So what invoked this the flipper today?
I love Flipper. They call him Flipper. Faster
Why would you think of? See, that's another thing. If they would have made Flipper a mean flipper, they would have destroyed hundreds of kids.
Well, that's just like if you had seen the thing with Winnie the Pooh. Do you know the Winnie the Pooh story?
No.
When the copyright on Winnie the Pooh has expired. So in other words, anybody can
What?
use the copyright on Winnie the Pooh or the trademark or something like that. Can't remember what it is, has expired. Okay. So now there's guys making slasher movies, and the slasher is, guess who? Winnie
no.
Winnie the Pooh. Yes.
How could they let that happen?
I mean, see, you don't think you think I make this up. I just
No,
put it.
I believe
Winnie
that.
the Pooh slasher movie. Oh, SLA. Here, I saw this other myself. Okay, hey kids, let's watch. Yes, it's 2023. It's called Winnie the Pooh. Are you ready for this? Blood and Honey. Oh my God! And it's at the, hold on a minute, it's at the Marcus de Pear Theater. 4:30.
Do you know that they're closing some of their theaters?
Hold on a minute. It's here, overview. Here, let me read the overview. Ready for this? Oh, now Farrell. Oh, here we go. Now feral and bloodthirsty, Winnie the Pooh and Piglet terrorized Christopher Robin and a group of young women at a remote house. It was released February 15th. It's just been out for a couple of days. Today's what? The 17th? What today is? Today's the 17th? Isn't today the 17th? Yeah, so
It's the 16th.
no, what's today? 13th, 14th,
Thursday.
15th, 16th. Today's the 16th? You sure? 13th,
According to
14th,
my
15th. Yeah, you're right.
computer.
Okay, 16th. Okay. February, it was released yesterday. The characters, let's see if there's a review for it. Top story. Okay, here's from the BBC 13 hours ago. You ready for this?
Sure.
A bizarre slasher film has taken advantage of the copyright for A.A. Milne's classic tale expiring and reimagined the lovable bear as an axe-wielding villain. Each year in January, countries around the world, 1 January remains one of the most exciting days in the calendar for lawyers and creatives alike. It's Public Domain Day, when the copyright expires for works published a certain duration ago. The U.S. copyright limit is 95 years, while in the U.K. it's 70 years, and those works therefore lapse into the public domain. 2022's Public Domain Day in the U.S. brought with it particularly tantalizing prospect. A.A. Milne's Winnie the Pooh was among the works that have reached their 95-year copyright limit, meaning the Butterball Bear could henceforth be used and depicted by anyone, in any way they wanted. Within months, the culturally entrenched image of Winnie the Pooh as a kind, smiling, honey-bellied fellow had quite literally been savage. On May 25th, the poster for an upcoming slasher horror film named
They had him in leather and chains, didn't
Winnie
they?
the Pooh, Blood and Honey was released, and a new Pooh emerged. Half man, half bear, axe-wielding, snarling, feral, terrifying. The image went viral across the internet.
So wrong.
Triggering a response that seemed to split into two distinct camps. On one side seemed to laugh it off, while the other was outraged. Petitions against the film's release were filed. After only 5 months of Winnie the Pooh's lapse into the public domain, a man had both made an entire horror film from the character and begun the film's release strategy. The man is UK filmmaker Rise Frake Waterfield, who until recently worked for an electricity supplier while making micro-budget horror movies on the side. Now in the back of his directional debut, Waterfield is responsible for what may turn to be one of the year's most profitable film releases. Originally intended as a streaming release with a single-day theatrical showing in the U.S., now on the back of its poster and trailer unexpected online virility, the film is being rolled out in cinemas across the world. In Mexico, where the film received its global premiere on the 29th of January, the film went to number 4 at the box office in its first week, taking in reported $700,000. That's just in Mexico. These are good omens for the week's first release in the U.S., where it is screening in more than 1,500 theaters. Winnie the Pooh is a slasher.
I just think that's wrong. I really do.
That's one movie I think I want to go see.
I think it's wrong.
Hey, kids, we're going to see Winnie the Pooh tonight at the theater. Oh, great, Dad. Oh, it's not the Winnie the Pooh that you remember. It's the Winnie the Pooh that your mom and dad have always dreamed about, where he goes ape. He drinks too much booze, and he snorts too much cocaine, and he becomes the Winnie the Pooh slasher. Oh, Mom and Dad, that sounds great. We can't wait. Will you buy us some popcorn? No, I won't buy any popcorn because you won't be there long enough to eat it because you'll be running out of the theater screaming, oh, my God, it's Winnie the Pooh. He's killing people. Right?
Pretty much, yes. See, I don't like that. I think that's wrong.
Why is that wrong? I think
because there are kids that idol poo. Winnie the Pooh.
You know what that does?
Please do not. Just don't. Oh, it's 7:30.
I got that one. You said what was the other one you said today?
They just want to get in the roundabout and get off.
No, that's not what it is. Okay, it's 7:30. It is BS.Show, and Shelley is the anti-hero. Okay, we're talking about this last break.
Wow, thanks.
I got to read one more paragraph. This is the guy in England who's done the new Winnie the Pooh movie, Blood and Honey. Okay.
Shaking my head.
Okay.
SM.
Let me read you this paragraph. Okay, Waterfield, this is the guy who produced the film. Waterfield's first issue, How to Make Winnie the Pooh Scary. This is his quote. Then I very quickly got the idea that the film's main theme would be abandonment. Blood and Honey opens with a now adult Christopher Robin returning to the 100-acre wood many years after departing it for college. There he finds his once domesticated friends Winnie the Pooh and Piglet turned feral, scavenging for flesh, blood, and drool hanging from their muzzles, ready to go on a killing spree, and ultimately wreak havoc upon Robin for abandoning them all those years ago. He says, get this, here's a quote again, I likened it to a pet. If you got a pet and they become super reliant on you and they love you, you give them food, you shelter them, their life's set. They're expecting that to continue forever. Then suddenly, if one day that stopped and they got left in the woods, they would become a very different animal. That's what I wanted. Appearing at a theater.
I don't have to like this
today.
Show.
Okay. I will say this, and I'm going to say our government doesn't tell us the truth because
Why do you make it seem like that's like a new thing?
You know what came out yesterday from CBS News?
What's that?
Okay, let's go back to the original balloon, the original Chinese balloon that, they discovered over Montana and it went over Missouri. People in St. Louis were taking pictures of it and stuff like that. Okay. Remember how the government was like, they were like, Gomer Pyle. Well, Shazam! Where'd that come from? Well, Shazam! We never thought. It came out yesterday that the government knew about these balloons from the minute it took off. There's some governmental intelligence agency that tracked the balloon from the minute it took off some island off the Chinese coast. It's there's some like island off the China coast, some military island or something like that. You know how they built all these islands in the middle of the China Sea or whatever the heck it is, Indian Ocean, whatever it is. Anyway, that balloon they knew about it from the minute it took off, every single step of the way. And do you know this whole bizarre story, how the thing became a news story?
No.
social media. Do you know this story?
No.
A photographer from some newspaper, let me if I can find a guy's name, because I heard this story before and I thought to myself, that can't be real. Now it turns out it's real. Okay, so in other words, the government's like, Shazam! We didn't know where that balloon came from. They knew exactly where it was all the time. This guy's a reporter and he's a photographer for some newspaper. Let me see if I can find this. I just search photographer, Graph, who saw Chinese Bloon. Okay.
B-A.
The guy's name is Chase Doak, D-O-A-K. He worked for, and here it is. He worked for Billings photographer, Billings, Montana, takes viral photo of Chinese spy balloon. This is according to KTVQ. Here, let's see if they got a report on this. Hold on, listen to this. Hold on a minute. Okay, hold on a minute. Here, I'll play this. Let's see if I can get this to play.
He was just in the right place at the right time.
Some say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and that's one way photography hobbyist Chase Doak expresses himself.
I've continued to do photography when I can, but I don't get a whole lot of chances to do it.
But on Wednesday, an unexpected chance suddenly appeared, a mysterious orb high in the sky.
And I have no idea what it is.
His first instinct was to rush home from work and capture the moment.
It was just right here. I mean, I was literally right in this vicinity in my driveway.
Little did he know he had snapped some of the clearest images taken of this mysterious object, which turned out to be something he could have never imagined.
I had posted a couple of photos just to social media, just joking, like, I thought I saw a UFO.
It turns out that UFO was actually a Chinese surveillance balloon, and Chase's photos have gone viral, appearing all around the world.
Even as we're standing here, I can feel my phone vibrating because people are trying to call me.
Chase has given several interviews to national and international news outlets since Thursday with no signs of stopping.
I did Inside Edition. I did NPR. That one will be on a little bit later in the day. And I'm lined up with CNN at 5.
It's a complete 180 from what this data analyst at Riverstone Health is used to, despite his previous digital media experience at the Billings Gazette.
It's just crazy. This is more attention than any of my photos or my video have received. And I'm not even in the news business anymore. I'm happy to have played a part in history. I think as a photojournalist, that was something that I always wanted to do.
In Billings, Alina Howder, MTN News.
So, see,
Wow.
he takes a picture and he's got a really long lens. It looks like, I mean, I can't judge how long, but it's one of those really long telephoto lens, maybe like 1,000, what they call it, 1,000 millimeter lens. It's super long. So once again, the government knew this balloon was there. Okay, they knew it was there from the minute it took off in China. It's flying across the Pacific. It goes up, goes across Guam, goes up across the Aleutian Islands, goes across Canada, goes across Alaska into Canada, then comes down south in Montana. And this guy goes home, gets his camera out, takes a picture, puts it on social media. Then the government can't deny it. Because the picture, and you've probably seen that picture, it's a really clear picture of, you can see the solar panels hanging underneath the balloon. So that's when the thing goes nuts. Because once again, our government didn't tell us about it. Here's Chase Doak. What a name. I like that. Chase Doak. Superhero. Anyway, here's Chase Doak in his driveway in Billings, Montana, taking pictures with his camera and going like, okay, what's going on in the world that the government is like, we don't know anything about it. What, balloon? Chinese balloon? What are you talking about? There can't be a balloon. It's got to be sky trash, right?
Sky trash.
So then the other thing is, the other 3 quote-unquote objects that they shot down, they can't find any pieces of them.
What, did they disintegrate?
I don't know. I mean, don't you think that if a missile hits something, like there's going to be something left? Now,
It would leave a mark.
I get it that the one they shot down over Lake Huron, that's where the missile, the Sidewinder missile missed. And by the way, we talked about that yesterday, and they did say that the missile hit Lake Huron. Can you imagine being a fisherman out there? You're casting your bait out there on your hook. Hey, boy, great day out here on Lake Huron, relaxing. Oh, boy, work's been tough. Whoa, whoa, what's that sound? Whoa, it's a missile coming at me. Goes right next to your boat.
That was nice, Brad. What else do you have to say?
Well, no, but see, once again, people don't believe the government. It's just like the crazy thing.
With good reason.
Well, it's like...
I mean, using us for plausible deniability.
Have you watched any of these hearings that are going on right now? Not that the Republicans are in charge. They got all these congressional hearings, and they got all these Twitter executives.
No, I haven't been watching that.
This is so funny. I mean, these guys, these Twitter...
Funny peculiar or funny ha-ha?
No, the Twitter executives, we didn't do anything bad. Well, and the one guy yesterday says, he's questioning these guys, and he's doing the typical prosecutor. I think this guy is, like Trey, what was the guy's name? He was a prosecutor as well, too, before he became a congressman. This guy's asking this guy from Twitter questions, and he gives the answers. But the only problem is the congressman asking the questions already has the answers. So he says to him, how many of the people, what percentage of the people that work at Twitter are Democratic or, the Democratic Party? He goes, well, it's fairly high. He says, well, how many do you think that is? Well, it's like 90%. And then the congressman come back, try 98.5%. And then he says, of all the money that was donated by the Twitter employees, where did that money go? Which political party did that money go? Well, I don't know, a little bit for the Democrats, a little bit for the Republicans. No, try 99.5% went to Democratic candidates. And you're going like, okay, we get it. Now you know why they hushed up the stupid Hunter Biden laptop. And now Hunter Biden's come out and saying, hey, yeah, it is my laptop, and you guys stole it. He's going after that guy. The guy's, you know who I'm talking about? You've never seen the picture of this guy before? The guy, no. The computer dude. He's got this.
No, I never have.
Hold on, Hunter Biden. He's got this. First off, he looks like something out of a kid's movie. Hunter Biden, computer guy. He's got 4 names. Let me see if I can look this up real quick. He almost, computer. How do you spell computer? C-O-M-P-U-T or Hunter Biden computer guy. Dude, okay.
Him.
Okay, his name is John Paul Mac Isaac. Okay? And
did he make that? Because he's an Apple
I don't know.
person?
And he works on Apple computers, right? Where's the picture of him? Okay, here it is. Here, this is here. I'll send you this picture. Okay, you ready? Hold it. I'm gonna screen. Oh, it's gone. Hold on. Where's the picture of him? Okay, here it is right here. I'm gonna shoot this to you. Okay, you ready?
Shoot away.
Okay, I'm sending you this picture. Okay.
TikTok.
Now look at it and you tell me what you think of the guy. You ready?
Yes.
Did you get it yet?
I just did.
Okay, look at it.
Huh. Hold on, let me bring him up. Oh, okay.
If I wore that
John
hat.
Paul Mac Isaac's new book, American Injustice.
Now,
My battle to expose the truth.
Right. I think his name is phony because if you look behind the name of his company is called The Mac Shop. He's an Apple dude and he works on Apple computers. So his name is John Paul Mac Isaac. Yeah, right. His name's, and I work on
probably John Paul Isaac.
Yes, and he threw Mac in there. Oh, my name's
he is the Mac man.
Right. I'm so much into Mac computers that my name's Mac.
I'm the Mac man.
Right. Okay. How would you describe the hat he's wearing?
It's a caddy's hat.
A caddy's hat, like in like Caddyshack or something like that.
It's the one that has it's a golfer's hat.
It's a weird beret with a ball on the top, like a little fuzzy ball.
It's a golfer's hat.
A golfer's hat. Okay, now, would you consider him to be Whitey Whitebread? He's not like me. He's not like a BIPOC like me. I am a person of color. Matter of fact, I can look at my card here. I am Mocha Java. Would you say that he's about as white as a white person can get?
No.
Oh, you don't? You don't think he's that white? He's so white, he's pink.
It could be the picture, Brad.
No, it's not the picture.
You don't know that.
It says right here, John Mac, what's his name? John Wayne Mac Isaac is
John
so
Paul.
white. John Paul Mac Isaac is so white that sometimes he when he's on the sheets at home, nobody can see him. That's what it says right here.
Okay. Moving on. Oh, it's 7:49.
We have to take a break. You don't believe anything I say anymore this morning. Here, I tell you about my long lost older brother, Ray Hildebrand,
Yeah,
and then
BS.
and then my great grandfather, Sam Hildebrand, who was killed
BS.
80 people. You don't believe a word I say.
Yes.
7:49. It is BS.Show. Shelley, she's a woman. Yeah, you can say that, right? You can say that now. You can still say
Do you
that.
actually think that? Because half the time you don't even think I'm
No,
a person.
that's right. I think you're Winnie the Pooh.
Uh-huh.
Blood and honey, right?
I still think that is just, I'm offended.
Okay.
Really.
Yesterday, changing topics here. Yesterday, Nikki Haley, who was the former governor of South Carolina and the former ambassador of the United States, or ambassador to the United Nations from the United States, came out and said she was gay. No, she came out and said she's running for president of the United States. Okay.
Isn't she the real pretty one?
Yes, very attractive.
Very
all
pretty.
these women governors are knockouts. Gretchen Wilson, who's the former country star, is now in Michigan. Kristi Noem, my favorite, who's not a governor but a former congresswoman, is
Tulsi Gabbard.
Tulsi Gabbard. Oh my God! If Tulsi called me up right now and said,
Get
"Brad,
a room, dude.
Brad, get rid of those stupid radio stations and come and travel with me. Be my media advisor, and
My
you can
pool boy.
right, be my cabana boy." I go. Hell with
And
this
you'll
stupid.
wear a thong.
Right.
And just
Oh,
remember,
well, I wouldn't go that far.
thongs like spandex
Yeah.
are a privilege, not a right.
Well, for me, it would not be a privilege. It wouldn't be a right either. Okay, so anyway, Nikki Haley comes out and says she's going to run for president. And the women on The View go ape over this. They say, oh, it's terrible. Now, keep in mind, why are they going after her? A, she's a woman. B, she's BIPOC. She's a black indigenous person of color because she's Indian. So she's not white, she's Indian, okay? So they're going after her and they're saying, oh, it's terrible. She's trying to, and talked about she used to be a Sikh, which is one of the religions in India. And now,
that's what I was going to say.
Yes.
Is she an Indian like American Indian?
No, she's
or Indian like
country India. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
And they're going after her because she's a Sikh. She used to be a Sikh, but she converted to Christianity. I think she's a Catholic now. So they're going after her. And guess what? They're going after her because she changed her name. Her Nikki's not her real name. Okay. They're going after. I'll look it up, but they're going after her because she changed her name. Terrible, she changed her name. Whoopi Goldberg is saying she changed her name. That's terrible. You know what the interesting thing about that is?
Was she born Whoopi?
No, her real name is Karen Elaine Johnson. She was born in 1955. Karen Elaine.
Whoopi?
Yes, that's her real name. Karen, Caryn. She's a Karen, believe it or not. Karen Elaine Johnson.
Can see that.
Karen Elaine Johnson. She's complaining that Nikki Haley has changed her name, and that's cultural misappropriation. Now, once again, the name Gold.
Did your mother call you Whoopi?
Well, no, hold on a minute. But Goldberg, okay? Shelley, you grew up in Clayton. Your dad was Jewish, right?
Yes.
Goldberg is a very Jewish name, correct?
It is.
There's a lot of Jewish people named.
Her mother has to be Jewish.
I get it, but there's a lot of. But she's complaining about cultural misappropriation. She's not Jewish. I'm pretty sure she's not. Let me.
If her mother was Jewish, she's Jewish.
Well, her mother's not Jewish. She just
her mother.
I get what you're saying.
She's a female-dominated.
Get this, okay?
What?
She's black, okay? Her career started on stage in 1983 with her one-woman show. You know what the one-woman show was called?
Me Too.
Spook Show. Once again, she's black and she called her show Spook Show. Talking about cultural misappropriation. She's black. She picks up a Jewish name when Whoopi, I think Whoopi would, I know Jewish people named Whoopi. Whoopi Cohen. I know, Whoopi Cohen? I know Whoopi Cohen. You know Whoopi Cohen?
Never had the pleasure.
He's a great guy. So they're complaining about.
He's going to be mad at you, isn't he?
he's not going to be happy with me. They're complaining. Hold it. Nikki, let me see. What's her real name? They're
Fatima.
complaining, and once again, Whoopi Goldberg complaining about cultural misappropriation. Okay, Nikki Nikki Haley. Okay, she is male. She's born in 1972. Her real name is Namarata. Her middle name is Nikki. Her first name is Namarata. Nimarata. Nikki Haley, and she was born January 20th, 1972. She is, how old is she?
She's younger than my babes.
Yeah, she's young. Okay. No, she's not. When was your
No,
daughter
she's
born?
older.
Yes, she's older. Yeah, she's okay.
Yeah.
So she's using her middle name. Okay, Karen Elaine Johnson. Don't call yourself Whoopi Goldberg. Call yourself Elaine, right?
Yeah.
God. You know,
Karen Elaine Johnson. Isn't that
we got to go because
Kedge?
look what time it is.
Oh, 7:59. Brandon, it's been a slice of heaven as usual. Everybody have a great day. Peace, and I fly.
Dr. Barr, thanks for the great therapy session this morning. It's 7:59.